So you want to build muscle, right? But in the simplest way possible, because you see all these guys on YouTube and every social media just telling you different information, a lot of information that contradicts each other because everyone has their own take on some. So you want to get to the bottom of all this and you just want to know the basic principles of building muscle. And I don't blame you because I was in that exact same situation when I was 15 trying to build muscle. I was looking at Jeff Nippert, Athlete X, fucking Sean Elwaney, and all these guys in Tyler Path, all these guys saying different stuff. And I'm like, bro, let me just get to the bottom of this. Let me actually just build the muscle. What are the main principles and how can I do it so that I can just not have to worry? Because saving mental capacity is like one of the most important things for the gym, because if you don't, it's not going to be as sustainable. And who wants an unsustainable fitness journey where it may make you want to quit? So let's get into this right now. As you can see on here, I have 3 circles and you might be thinking, what are they? So the 3 circles, let's first identify what the 3 principles are in the first place. And it's very simple. So 3 circles, one of them being for each principle. The first one is training, second one is diet, and the third one is recovery. And one of them really isn't that much more important than the other, because they all matter. And if you're missing one of these, you're kind of fucking yourself and you're leaving gains on the table. So they all link. They all link each other, right? And, we're going to talk about each of the principles more specifically. So let's start off with the training, right? Training, here are the principles. So we have the overarching principles. Now let's actually get into the specifics for each one. And these are the main things for each one. This ain't supposed to be a crazy, long, specific video on weird things. No, this is just a basic, brief thing for more younger, inexperienced lifters or teenage lifters or people that just want to get into the gym. So with training, please train each muscle at least 2 times a week, right? Because the bro split, don't follow the bro split. I know you heard of that. Don't fucking do it. It's a waste. It's bad. You're only training one muscle group one day, and which means that you're only training a muscle group 1 time a week. That's not optimal for gains. And I know you want gains, especially as a growing teenager. You're gonna be leaving gains on the table if you're only training a muscle once a week, right? So please get that straightened out first. That's like the first thing that came to my mind. Secondly, just put in some fucking effort. I shouldn't even have to really say this, but I got to do it anyway, because most people, man, they get too caught up with form and all this shit. And what good is all that form tweaking shit when you're not even fucking putting in the effort? You're not even getting close to a failure, right? At least train 1 rep till failure, or 0 to 2 IRR, reps in reserve, right? Do that. Speaking of form, though, just have just worry about decent form. You don't got to go crazy with having worrying about the tempo of each rep and all this weird shit. Just have decent form. At least get a good range of motion. Put some effort behind that, and you basically did the movement the right way. All right. People overcomplicate. This is a simple video right here. Very simple. Then after that, and this is why. And the only thing I'm going to tell you with the split thing is don't do the bro split. But I'm not even going to write the splits down, because I don't even really think that's really that important, because as long as you're just doing these things, you won't have to worry about a split. It's just a way to organize your workouts. It is important. It is like the building blocks of your routine, but that's not as important as these things. So that's why I'm not going to write it down. And after that, I shouldn't even have to do this, but I'm going to write it anyway. And it's fucking legs. And it's training legs. I don't even have room down there. I don't know what happened to the thing, why I moved down. So I'm just going to write it up here, right? So I'll just separate things like this. So, okay, legs. And the reason I'm putting this is everyone skips legs because it's hard. Train those motherfuckers, man. You're missing out on half your body because it's too hard. Stop being a bitch and fucking train them, right? Shouldn't even have to write this down. But then the last big important thing with the training that I can think of is progressively overloading. I know you heard this word thrown around a lot, and it's overdone in a way because people will sacrifice form and effort just so they can get higher weight or more reps. It's dog shit. The only way that overload counts to me is when you're upping the rep by 1 or upping the weight by 2.5, with the same form and effort. That's the only time it counts. And the other thing is you don't have to, everyone pressures you, every week, maybe your body, maybe you just can't do it even after a week. So you have to wait 2 weeks until you're able to put another thing, plate on or another rep. It's okay, man. I mean, we are in a rush to get a good physique, but not to that extent where we're sacrificing effort and form just to say, we overload. It's overdone, right? So as long as you get these things done with training, you're good. 2 times a week with each muscle group, put in some fucking effort, have decent form, hit legs, and overload. That's the training, man. There's more specifics, like the order of the exercises, like, the actual exercise that you should be doing or should not be doing. But I'm going to be honest, if you go to a commercial gym, especially, most of the machines there, they do the job, and you don't have to really worry. You just hit the muscle you want to hit, and that's it. Now, the next thing is diet, and this might even be the most important one out of all of them. I guess that's why it's in the middle. But with diet, let's just start off. It's simple. Whole foods, right? But the twist is 100% of the time. And you might be thinking, what the fuck? I gotta eat whole foods only? Well, if you want the best results, yes, because I talked about this in my balance is overrated video. If you want to check out why balance is overrated specifically, please check it out. I go into this more in depth, but with Whole Foods 100%, it's way easier. It's better because when you're trying to do all this ratio shit, like the 80-20 diet or the 90-10 diet that people fucking tell you, it's just more complicated because now you got to worry about, okay, I can eat junk food. How much is 20%? How much junk food is 20%? And you're trying to figure out in your head, and it's wasting mental capacity. And now, because you're following this stupid ratio diet, now you have junk food lying around the house. And I bet you're gonna binge one day. Craving, you can't outbeat cravings, man. Willpower will not beat cravings at the end of the day. So one day you'll binge too much on whatever fucking cookie or nutter butter you have in the fucking closet or whatever. And now for that day, instead of it being an 80-20 diet, because you binge that day, now it's more like a 60-40 diet. And is that fucking good for gains? No. And you might be thinking, oh, it's only one day I'm doing that. Well, you don't know. It could keep stacking. It could keep adding up if you keep binging multiple times a week. And now your supposed 80-20 diet is now fucking, it could be 50-50. So just don't worry about that. With the whole food thing, 100% of the time, you won't have any junk food in the house, right? Because it's just 100% whole foods. So when there's no junk food in the house, there's nothing you can fuck up your diet with. It's not in your immediate area that you can access. So just follow that, please. Now, the next thing that's important with the diet is you got all your whole foods. Now you just got to focus on the macros. And you might be thinking, is it that important? Yes, it is. Because with protein, you need, I'll just write it down here so I have more room. With protein, you need at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. Everyone says that, I know, but there's a reason, because it's easy to remember. It's rounded to 1 gram. Anyone can remember that. If you just weigh 180 pounds, that means you eat 180 grams of protein. Very easy to remember. And, you could get away with, I guess, 0.7 or 8 grams, but that's more complicated. And why not just have that, extra bit of protein, just to be safe and to also be more satiated, because that's what keeps you satiated, right? Makes you say you don't have to eat as much. You'll feel more full because protein, that's what it does. So get that protein on check. Then you have your carbs and then your fats. So the baseline with fats is 0.3 grams per pound. Definitely keep that less. People focus on it too much. They're like, oh, get your avocados in, get your nuts in. It's like, man, you're already getting enough from whatever fatty meat you got, even if it's a whole food. And you're getting enough with the oil you're probably using. So you don't got to worry about that. It's just going to add more calories if you're trying to worry about your fat, because you're probably taking in enough. So just do that for fat. Keep it low as you can. And, you see we have baselines with, the protein fats. And you might be thinking, what about the carbs? This is the wild card, because with bulking or cutting, right, you always got to follow these baselines for protein, fat, whether you're bulking or cutting. But with carbs, that's the wild card. Because once you reach the protein and fat baselines, you fill the rest of your calorie budget up for that day with carbs, because the more carbs you have, the more energy you'll have, the better you'll be able to perform at the gym, and that's really important. This is why I don't really agree with carnivore diets at all, because that might be good for like fat loss or older people with certain conditions or health issues or immunity issues. But in terms of like a young, fresh teenage lifter, sacrificing carbs is a fucking disaster. So, and I've learned it the hard way, unfortunately. So you fill the rest of your calorie budget up with fucking carbs. There's no baseline. There's nothing you have to follow. There's no limit. You eat as much as you can before hitting your calorie goal. Speaking of calories, that's the last thing, or the next big thing with the diet in general, because you can have your macros and whole foods on check, and because you can have your whole foods and macros in check, but now you're like, okay, how much of that can I be eating? Which is relates to the calories, the overall calories. Now this comes down to if you're bulking or cutting, right? If you're cutting, which most people fucking should cut, because most people are like 20% body fat, no need to bulk at 20. Oh, I gotta bulk to build muscle. Shut the fuck up. Cut. You look way better. Oh, but I won't look as big as clothes. Bro, you look shitty, even though you look bigger in clothes. It's all fat that's filling up the fucking sleeve anyway. So what is the point? So find your calorie maintenance, which is what matters, because that is, maintenance calories is how much calories you should be eating if you want to maintain. But if you want to be cutting, be at least in a 500 calorie deficit, and if you're bulking, at least do an 100 calorie surplus. With the deficit, just start off with 500 calorie deficit, and then if it's still like not enough, and you feel like you could do more, and you still feel good, and you still feel like you're not even in a deficit, and you're not losing weight that fast, up it each week. You gradually up the deficit, and then eventually maybe you'll be at a 1,000 calorie deficit. Now, I don't recommend you do that for too long, but if you really want to get weight gone quick, doing a 1,000 calorie deficit, even from the jump. So that will help you lose weight really quick. With bulking, please stick to 100 calorie surplus. I'm sick of these guys trying to do 300, 400, 500 calorie surplus, and they're putting on extra fat. And then, they bulk too much, they got fat, now they got to cut again. And then once they cut, they realize, damn, I didn't really put that much muscle. I'm still small. So please be in 100 calorie surplus. Bulk is no excuse to fucking eat what you want and do all this bullshit. Just doing 100 calorie surplus. Do it the gradual lean way. It's the best. because you're still in surplus, but it's not too much of a surplus where you're gaining fat. It's mainly just muscle tissue you're adding on when you're in a leaner surplus, right? That way, when you're in a leaner surplus, you can drag the bulk on longer. So, and that's what matters. You want to have the bulk be as long as possible and as gradual as possible, and have the cuts be the fastest part, because losing fat is a lot quicker and easier than building muscle, lean tissue over time. So, yeah, that's that. Overall, if you want to find your maintenance calories, just go on a website and find it. Make sure you put in your age, your accurate age, weight, height, and your activity level, because if you don't, it's going to give you a whole different number than what you need. Make sure you calculate like all that accurately. It will give you a maintenance calorie number, and then you subtract or add whatever you need. So that's the diet. This is the main things with the diet. Now we're on to recovery, the third main thing. So recovery. This includes sleep, and I'm putting in capitals because it's way too important. And the reason it's so important is because when everyone knows this, when you lack sleep, you feel shittier. And when you feel shittier, you'll probably get less work done. Or if you still get the same amount of work done, that work won't be as, quality like. So it's all about mainly quality work. You won't get as much quality work because if you sleep less, because you might think, oh, if I sleep less, I'll have more time to work. What good is working 18 hours if it's half-assed versus when, you could just be doing like 14 hours of quality work or whatever. Like, I'd rather work less but have it be quality than work more but have it be half-assed. I think everyone will be on my side with that. Next thing is your supplements or whatever. That's part of your recovery, because it's something you take in passively every day. The next thing with recovery is your mental. After that, the next thing can be optional stuff. There's not as much to write down for the recovery part than the other stuff. There's not as much to talk about, but here's optional stuff. You could be stretching or just being mobile in general. Anything to calm yourself down. It could be meditation or whatever, but that kind of relates to the whole mental thing. So this is why I say mental is so important, because with sleep, you gotta get that in check. With sleep, at least sleep 7 hours, 7 to 9. I don't think 6 is enough, and over 9 is too much, in my opinion. But it's better to have like 10 hours of sleep than like 5 hours of sleep, I guess. But the problem with sleeping so much is that you kind of now you're starting to cut time from the day itself when you could have got up after 8 hours and got more work done. But whatever. Me, 7 to 9 is a perfect range. Some people need to be more towards one end than the other. I'm more on the 8 to 9 hour range myself. I feel the best when I do that, but I can still function with 7 hours too. Get some coffee, and I'm ready. But after that, with the whole meditation relating to the mental thing, is that mental is part of the recovery, because it kind of determines how sustainable the journey can be, and it's really a big deal, because if you have high cortisol levels, then you'll just limit gains because your testosterone crashes down. Simple as that. And when you're stressed out all the time, not only does it bloat you and make you look worse, but it just kind of like takes you away from what you need to do, because you're worrying so much about one thing. And let's say you're in the gym training, you're not focused on the training itself. Now you're focusing on, oh, my bills, oh, my girl. So it's just bad. You don't want fucking cortisol to go up. You don't want that shit. Fuck cortisol. Be stress-free. Be present, which is what meditation does for you, and you feel way better. And stretching can include just drills at the end of a workout, something that kind of helps you not maybe feel sore or just be more flexible. Supplements, kind of all over the place with the order, but supplements with this could be under the optional category, but I think there's a couple that are essential. Creatine is one. Basically, it makes your muscles. There's some cognitive benefits to it, and it stores water, not just under the skin. Everyone thinks, oh, it makes you look watery. No, it stores it actually in the muscle tissue itself. It's not under the skin, dumbass. But have that. Definitely, I think, vitamin D. Vitamin D, especially if you're in a fucking cold area, which I'm in a cold area for the winter. So, and with that cold area, you're not getting as much sun. So how are you getting vitamin D? You're getting from food, but maybe it's not enough. So to be safe, please supplement vitamin D. It directly boosts testosterone and is like the main vitamin kind of thing. Protein powder, that's, I think it's really good to have on the side for convenience in case you're busy one day and you can't make a meal and you just chug a couple scoops, 40 grams of protein in a shake. But it's more optional, I think, because if you just get enough from the Whole Foods, which to me is easy as fuck, chicken breast, tuna, steak, if you just get it from that, you don't need to waste money on a protein supplement. So that's not as necessary to me, but I think getting it sometimes, I guess, would help. And then that's really it for the necessary supplements. There's a lot of marketing bullshit, so please don't get caught up in that. Magnesium is actually good too for sleep. Potassium is actually really good for me because I love debugging and I want to be lean. I'm more for the aesthetics and looks max and stuff. So I guess potassium can be another necessary one in my opinion, because a lot of people, they take in more sodium than they think. Just adding salt all over your food, more sodium means more water retention, more water retention. That's why I don't have salt shakers no more. I used to, it made shit taste better, I guess, but now I just do other seasonings like pepper and whatnot, just anything that's not sodium, because those ones don't blow you like sodium does. So it still tastes good. So yep, like, creatine, fucking magnesium, or vitamin D, potassium, because having a 3-to-1 potassium ratio is really good just for health and debloating and looks purposes. Have that stuff and you should be good. Nothing else really is necessary. Pre-workout, you don't need pre-workout. Just have some fucking natural black coffee and you'll have enough energy. And once you get used to that, you'll be used to that. You won't have to, because once you get on that pre-workout train, gym bro train, you want more and more of it, because the company's engineered to make it taste so good and give you the itchies, and it's all weird shit, and there's weird ingredients in there and shit. So don't fuck with that. But I'm gonna be honest, this is everything. This is the entire. This is it. This is it. This is like the entire thing that you need to focus on. You don't need any of these other weird videos. If you just want to keep things simple, this is the video for you. This is the main fundamental principles of muscle building in general. As long as I'll just go over it again. As long as you train muscle 2 times a week with effort, decent form, train legs with good, progressive overload, reasonable progressive overload, along with a good diet with 100% whole food, macros, calories in check, with great sleep, good mental game, and good supplements. If you just have that, you're guaranteed to put muscle on. You can't prove me wrong with that. You're guaranteed to put muscle on. I'll put pictures up of me doing all this stuff in the middle of me cooking, my physique, boom, bada boom. But yeah, this is all you need as a growing teenager, especially, to put on muscle. Now, this was like the first of my whiteboard vids. So if you have any feedback, please put it down in the comments. I would really appreciate it. I'd read every single one. Let me know if you want more or less of these vids, or if you just want me to go back to the fucking regular standing vids, or if you just want me to post reels. I don't really care. I want to do what you guys want me to do. But yeah, drop a like if you actually got something from this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.